Hello, welcome. It is now Toku Hero time. How's it going, everyone?
Good.
That's good. Sorry for the initial skipping last week. Canadian Thanksgiving. Anyway, to spooky months, and there is more news in terms of Tokusatsu. Where should we start, Mochi?
Uh, kind of. I'm just gonna get the reveals out of the way now because I'll forget about them later.
Go ahead. Okay, record.
Uh, but, saving. We have a new Hound and a new Hatchet coming soon, and that's pretty much the only two new things we have to talk about.
In terms of Transformers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Are they at least good figures? Are there any images shown so far?
Yes. Coming your way now.
Hmm. Okay, let's see here. These look pretty neat. A monster-looking
Yeah,
fellow and
yeah,
army
Hound.
hound.
Hound is long overdue because he's was supposed to get an update about 3 or 4 years ago that never came until just now.
Wow. This kind of looks like a. This hound looks like he's in the prime style of Transformer.
Yeah, sort of. It's G1, but yeah.
So okay, so this is basically a reimagining of a G1 model.
Yeah.
It's cool. So what's the story
Yeah.
with the army truck here?
Oh, that is Hound. I see the confusion now.
Oh, okay. So hound, green guy, dog is who?
Yeah. Hatchet.
Okay, this is Hatchet. So
Yeah, I
Hatchet.
keep forgetting. I keep forgetting you're not as absorbed into this as we are.
I'm sorry. I don't. I mean, like you say hound, and then my eyes looks towards the monster-looking one here.
Yeah,
And then,
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
yeah, sorry. So Okay, so hound G1 guy. So what's Hatchet's story?
It was a grunt type of character from the third movie that never got a decent, uh, never had a decent physical presence until now.
That's
They
cool.
still haven't seemed to decide like what he actually is for some reason.
What he actually is. Well, I mean, he looks like a. Like I get, I don't have like a car visual, but it looks like a van of sorts.
That's correct.
Hmm.
But it was an F-15 when he first showed up, and now I have no idea what's going on.
That's fair. Well, he looks like a good boy, good dog.
True.
Yeah, that's cool. That's new figures. Hmm. So, so that since that's all in terms of Transformers, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Been a slow week on that.
All right then. Well, here's some interesting news in terms of Kamen Rider. I'll just mention Outsiders first, since that's just gonna be quick. It should be showing soon. Episode 0 apparently came out recently. Um, I think it's translated, but I don't know. It's not available in the Toku Drive. But the situation is that Kamen Rider Delta was defeated by Gem, which is okay, fair. But the most interesting part is, well, Oja's return. Kamen Rider Oja's return from Yuki.
Yeah, I heard he's like getting to survive.
Yeah, that's based on the trailer. Yeah, it's just like an image of him holding the third survive card. The other two going from like what Knights had one of them and Ryuki had the other. So now the third is going to Oja, I guess, or he stole it,
Yeah,
which is pretty
yeah.
cool. Hmm?
Yeah, I like the idea of him just taking a grab bag of like secondary and tertiary characters and just throwing them into the same show. That seems like it could be interesting.
It is interesting,
Uh,
especially given the roster. Yeah. I think my most curious thought is how Deanne is also here, but also that how are they going to defeat Gen? Because he's basically the culmination of like all of Gen's bullshit exploits and pause from Cronus. You know.
I'm sure. I'm sure DN probably has something up his sleeve, as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. True. But the interesting part is that Kamen Rider Odin is the only other time guy. Due to his nonsense with the time event card. And now Oja is here
Yeah,
with the third survive card. So that could imply that he just beat up Odin.
possibly. Yeah,
Yeah. So I was like, huh, Oja is gonna probably beat up Gen. That'd be fun. That I think that would just
yeah.
remind what? Eh.
It seems people seem to think, based on that trailer, that DN is kind of pulling a Joker and kind of replacing Tsukasa. I'm not sure how true it is, but it doesn't seem to have the ground possibility.
Well, okay, your audio just kind of like scattered there. So something about the end pulling a
Okay.
Joker.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say DN is probably, uh, according to people that saw the trailer, they're speculating that he'll probably pull a Joker and replace DN now that a decade. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how true that is, but it seems.
it's an interesting idea. Honestly, that's how I think Oja came back. Is through the end. And either
Probably.
well, my thing is well, it's like Oja's just like is supposed to be dead by all accounts, but he keeps coming back. He came back in Exade for that Night of Safari special. Supposedly Foundation X brought him back, and then he came back for the another time in terms of Zio. Uh, Something about another game starting in terms of Ryuki stuff, but he came back. But now he's
Yeah.
back here, and we don't really know how. And my theory is that either it's likely that the end started this. Either that.
Probably.
Hmm?
I said you're probably right about that one.
Yeah, because I either think it's either similar to how Eternal came back in Zio, or I don't know, maybe Oja's restless spirit just wandered into the clone that Oja summoned.
Yeah. Some people are also saying that they might. My bad. They that the clutch might be that DN will be able to use one of Oja's cards or vice versa, because that's proven to be possible in Superhero Tyson,
I see.
because both the Gosei Blade and Ryuki's End Decades cards were all compatible with each other. Not sure how that works, but it works.
Okay, I can't see how. I'm having a hard time seeing Ryuki's thing because it doesn't use a barcode scan. The Ghost Sager and the Kate Ride cards do use a barcode. I'm not sure about Ryuki. Hmm?
Regardless, it did work in that movie.
Okay, fair, whatever. But yeah, either Gem's shit is getting kicked in by either the Yant or Oja. So that's gonna be fun when that happens.
Yeah,
Rip Smart Brain Queen. Yeah, that's
yeah.
sad.
This basically just seems a special filled with all the anti-hero characters.
Well, I mean, like to be fair, Delta in general has just been like kicked around, even in Fize's season. No matter who
Yeah, I'm
won.
glad.
Yeah, what?
Five seems to be pretty generally forgotten as a season when it comes to crossovers and stuff. So I'm glad it's finally getting some representation.
Well, to be fair, there was that weird nonsense with the Tyson movies during Drive's run. I mean, to be fair, that
Oh yeah.
started
Oh yeah,
with
that's right.
Showa and Heisei. It basically just
Yeah,
spoils
that
down
wasn't
to
that.
like why was Five the focus, like the minor focus of these specials? Like it started on Showa versus
Uh,
Heisei, and then it just at the end of the Tyson movie, he apparently became the leader of Shocker for some reason. Like, why are you? What have you been doing, Takumi? It's ridiculous.
I mean, that wasn't actually Fies though. That was just somebody using the gear.
Uh, No, it was in the movie. It was like no, it was like in the one of the Tyson movies near the end of it or whatever. It was revealed that
Yeah,
Takumi, the actual Pfizer or whoever it was, became the leader of Shocker and used Excel to like make a weird time loop where Mach died.
yeah.
So that
Oh yeah, that's right. They're
yeah
doing that weird alternate reality thing. I forgot about that.
yeah. I'm only reminded of that because I got a like a poster from a delivery I got a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Geats because there's been some interesting stuff that's been happening. Quick
Yep. Let's hear
refresher.
it.
I'll just do a quick refresher on the 5 and 6. Basically, team saying of a game of concentration of pairs between riders. Neon and Geats were winning. Were winning most of it until, and meanwhile Buffa, Punk Jack, Tycoon, and Mary were losing, and which basically boils down to Buffa and Tycoon winning after Mary tried to do some heinous backroom alley shit. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, episode 7. I was not able to watch that.
Oh, you weren't.
I wasn't able to watch it because it wasn't available on the drive or whatever. But there's been leaks, so I've been gathering information based on that. I posted some in
Yeah.
the chat. What,
Yeah.
as far as I understand, based on what I've heard, Gates is an immortal bastard, and it looks like Tycoon is gonna be winning, maybe. Meanwhile, the kick the
Yeah.
can cactus monster, is being a giant
I,
lad. Hmm?
yeah. I think everybody kind of suspected that Ace might not be as young as his face implies. I think everybody kind of suspected that from the beginning, but it's good to know that's confirmed.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think so. Ever since that Caesar coin,
Coin.
yeah, it appeared. Yeah, personally, I kind of suspected that he was not 2,000 plus years old. At most, he must have been like at least from the Showa era. Cause like, how can this scientifically advanced thing exist? You know,
Yeah.
most they could like at least explain like, oh, there's a shocker or some kind of similar Ryuki thing in during the Showa era. But
Yeah.
yeah, oh well. 2000, the DGP has been going for 2,000 plus years. This
Yeah.
just
That makes sense when you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah. It, I don't know how I feel about them like going that far back, but as long as it doesn't interrupt anything else, I think it's fine.
I guess so. So apparently, Ace's goal is to find his mother or something. Supposedly, that's what I've been
Yeah.
hearing anyway. And it's like, did they drink the same immortal juice? What happened?
I don't know.
Yeah, me either. This reminds me a little bit about Ultraman Orb and how the main character is as old. Like Ultraman Orb is stupidly old by the time of when the current events of Orb happen. And so
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it, but basically at the end of Ultraman, but basic, I don't know how to put this. I just I have a hard time not thinking that Ace's mother went off to make another family or something, thinking that Ace was dead. I only really say
Yeah.
that because Orb had a similar situation where he thought his girlfriend died a million of thousands of years ago, but she survived and had descendants. So
Yeah,
I don't know what to feel. It just makes me think that Tycoon is somehow related to Ace or something stupid like that.
it might be. The thing is, the second family thing would make sense, but this is a Toei show, and I don't feel like they would do that for this
They
season.
wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't. But it's like I just have this funny stuff like thinking, Tycoon is the great 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 grandson of Ace.
It might be.
Yeah,
He does seem to be more patient with him than anybody else, so maybe.
maybe. Yeah. Though to be fair, Ace has been patient with Neon and Buffa, I guess. Michinaga.
But
Oh well. Hmm.
yeah, you're right.
Eh, who knows? But they do have an interesting relationship based on like you know Geet's manipulation of his good nature, especially I
Yeah,
say that image, but basically on how he got the ninja buckle.
yeah,
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So hopefully that'll develop further into a real answer. But overall,
yeah.
it's a pretty good Gabuto and Gatak type relationship here. That's
Pretty
just,
much.
yeah, that's how I'm reading it anyway. It's pretty nice to see after a good amount of years since Kabuto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed,
Yep.
and this happens like any season. This happens like every season. It's not. I should clarify. It's not just limited to Toku shows, but like every season, anytime two characters of the same gender like start having beef with each other, the internet starts shipping them like immediately, and that's already happening with Ace
I
and Goon.
Tycoon. Wait, people are shipping Ace with Tycoon here? Okay, what I mean.
Yeah,
Really? Okay, that's interesting. I thought people would ship Michinaga with Ace. Because I seen that kind of like the love hate thing going on.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's
I don't see
interesting.
it. I don't.
What?
I don't see it being a reality, but
Oh, I don't see it being reality either. But that just
uh,
sounds funny.
yeah,
So, to be fair, I can't imagine people shipping Gatak with Kabuto. But it's like, oh well, that's a different story.
I mean, like with certain characters, at least makes sense. But it's like the internet always seems to pick characters that hate each other, and that just doesn't
Yeah,
add
that
up. But
yeah, it is weird. I get what they're going for there, but it's like realistically, they wouldn't love each other that much
yeah,
unless something happens within the show. But whatever. What else? I
we'll find out, I guess.
yeah. What else? I I haven't been keeping track with Super Sentai stuff, to be fair. But all I do know is that Don Murasame's Mecha has debuted recently, and that
Oh yeah,
Phoenix power up item has been coming in. Well, it's been
yeah,
released or whatever. Um, Sonoi came back with some red flourish or whatever.
yeah,
I'm convinced that his spirit got bunked in the head when he came back to his body. But oh well,
pretty much.
yeah. I haven't been keeping track of John Brother. I should be doing that. But yeah, it looks
Yeah,
interesting for I did see that mecha fight though. It was completely
yeah,
CGI. Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
what to feel about that.
Well, I think it's kind of an unreasonable expectation at this point
Well,
to expect Toku CGI to be even passable,
well,
unless it's like a big movie.
well. No, it's like I think the CGI itself is fine, given how this similar thing happened with Lupin Ranger and Pat Ranger
I mean, it's
with the
if
big
nothing else,
fucking what?
it's better than the animation for Inu and Kiji.
Yeah, but no, that part is fine. Well, how I feel, I don't know how to fully describe this, but this reminds me of when something similar happened with Lupin Ranger, Pat Ranger, with the final mecha.
Yeah,
I don't remember something Kaiser VSX, and how that was so much of a clusterfuck that they had to use CGI. It was like
yeah. There's
it was like
they would have had to for that to have work for that to work as a physical prop. They would need to have something unreasonably sized and cram like 3 people inside it to operate it. And
yeah,
even then, you'd still probably need supporting After Effects to make it look decent.
yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I guess it just reminds me how like times change, where something like you go on your G12 mecha can't really be made in this day and time anymore without CGI to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, like back in the Showa era of both shows, if something wasn't possible or something wasn't going to look halfway passable, they just didn't attempt it because there was just no way to do that at the time.
Yeah,
And early 2000, they started experimenting with it just because the technology became slightly cheaper and
true.
more accessible, and it was hit and miss. And something like the G12 suit or the
Go Sager or
it
Samurai.
just left my mind. Yeah, how that's what it was.
Yeah, right.
That kind of only worked because it was just like a block that had to sit on a platform and move its arms. There was no real.
I mean, yeah, it's true, especially with Sheen Kanjer, given how that's supposed to
But
be like
then
a
the
yeah,
then there was in that same season there was like the Kyoromaru,
sure.
which just cannot be possible without CGI.
Yeah, that would be a giant fuck off prop, huh?
And well, the thing is, it moves and stretches, so there's just absolutely no way it's going to work unless you get like 15 people involved.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot who did that. I'm s- I'm still in the mindset that it's a shark to the samurai, because to be fair, it looks more like a
Well,
shark thing.
well, here's I'll try not to stay on this rant for too long, but here's the thing:
Okay.
when it came over to America, they designated it a shark just because they didn't want to explain the whole Chinese dragon thing or Eastern dragon thing. But
Oh,
in Shinkenger, it's like not entirely clear. The word Kuru implies that it's some sort of prehistoric creature,
yeah.
but that could also Japan has no idea what that word means either.
Kyoryu?
Yeah, they have like 15 definitions for it. It could just mean basically anything reptilian.
That's fair. The dude used Ryu just like a just those 3 letters to refer to any dragon. That's all I know.
Yeah, but the
But
thing is, the plot kind of implies that it existed in prehistoric times, so it's just to me, it's just the sword with the face. That's what I'm calling it.
yeah, okay, sure. All right, that's fair. Uh,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah. Kamen Geats, Kamen Outsiders. Hopefully, that'll be interesting in due time, along with whatever's going on with Dawn Brothers. What do you think of that power up form, by the way?
that's fine. If you're talking about the
Dawn,
combination, or are you talking about the new suit?
Dawn Brothers, the Momotaro upgrade.
Oh, you mean just the suit? Yeah.
Yeah, just a suit.
It's fine. It's like I kind of appreciate that it's not like an entirely new thing. Like Max Rio Soul Red, or
Mm.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
I appreciate that. Just I appreciate that's just like a simple thing that weighs over the original suit, as
Yeah,
opposed to being like some overly elaborate, over designed thing, which they
yeah,
tend to do sometimes.
like the SWAT mode
I
for
appreciate,
Deca Ranger.
yeah, I appreciate when it's simple but effective.
Mm,
That's usually when it works best.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Personally, I get what you mean, but it's like sometimes you have to think, man, Max Reusel Red looks so cool. They won't be able to do this again for a while.
Oh no, that suit doesn't look bad. I was just using it as an example of being an entirely new thing.
Yeah, I get you. I just think it's like it looks so cool that they won't be willing to do it again anytime soon. Oh, but we gotta make do with like the simple looking suits, like this one here with Don Momotaro and stuff like that. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh well.
My opinion, the season executed it best with Shinkenger, just because it was very, in theme and it could work on any one of them,
Yeah,
and it didn't clash with any of their didn't clash with any of their colors because there was no white.
yeah. It was a really
So
good. It was a really good writing tool in terms of like developing the
yeah,
Shinken. I'm actually curious
yeah,
about that. With in terms of like this
it's very
Phoenix. Hmm?
it's very rare, but I do appreciate when there's like a power up that only one of them can use at a time. That's a very good way of like balancing out leverage.
Yeah, true. Because sometimes when it's like in situation with Max Reusel Red, it's like normally when there's a power up, the red guy takes over, and it's like the other four are afterthought. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's usually like rare six. It's rather six usually.
What?
I said it's either red or the six usually.
Yeah, it's normally those two. They're like the favorite ones. That happened with Zen Kaiser, Ryu Soldier, maybe Kira Major, but to be fair, that was shared. And that was pretty cool when that
Yeah,
happened. Hmm. I wonder if
yeah. I
Don
think the
Brothers.
only
What?
pretty sure the only time there's been a one at a time upgrade that was used all at once was the Ghost Ager crossover because they basically just did some bullshit with cards and then all six of them were able to use the Inramaru at the same time, except
Yeah,
for Red, who was
using Hyper.
Red was yeah in Hyper.
Hmm. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I do wonder if the other Don Brothers will be able to use Phoenix. Just like a
It is
thought.
kind of cool that Genta got to use both the Inramaru and Kiramaru only one time each, but they still make dedicated costumes for it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Even like Shinken Green used Hyper at some point, I think, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
and they didn't skip yellow and pink with super, which I appreciate. They always get left behind in these things. It seems.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Tokuger's case, Pink and Yellow had to share the power up, literally.
Yeah, it was more like one and a half of that suit.
Yeah, that was a funny moment, but yeah, okay, weird. A little bit.
I mean, it's like I appreciate the joke, but when the joke is being valued over the actual thing, I'm
Yeah,
not sure how I feel about that.
yeah. But yeah, that's how I feel about Dawn Brothers. It's pretty good. I have not been keeping a close eye at it for a while. But it's like, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not sure about, and this has nothing to do with the actual writing, but
Yeah.
they've kind of we've already seen the combination with Dondora, the word I can't pronounce.
Don Doragoku.
His mecha, I'm talking.
Don Doragoku.
I can pronounce no the name of the mecha. I cannot remember that for the life of me.
Fuck yeah, me neither. So
Yeah, but
are you talking about the clusterfuck mecha or the six mecha?
the combination between the two.
Don Doratora Oni Taijin.
No wonder I couldn't remember that. That's long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
Uh,
Well, yeah, we've seen that one.
yeah,
What did?
but yeah. Anyway, that that's already kind of like barely functioning as it is, and that's only 7 of them.
Yeah,
And according to leaks, they're gonna try to put all or most of them together at the end. And I
actually,
don't know how that's gonna go.
I did see a video about it. It's like that. I forgot who it was, but I did see it. I'll try to pull up the video. Let's see here.
I know what you're talking about, but it's like there are gonna be more after these 8, and they're gonna like try to stick. I don't see that working because
Wait,
it's like they're articulated
there's
and
gonna be
huge, and they're not like simple,
there's gonna be
not
more.
like simple and blocking.
Okay, yeah, but
It seems like it.
wait, there's gonna be more mecha other after
It
Phoenix.
seems like it.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like it.
Oh no! Oh dear.
Yeah, you see my concern now.
Yeah, I see. Okay, I only knew that Phoenix was gonna be the. I only knew about Phoenix, but I don't know if there's gonna be actually other ones. If it were just
And they're
Phoenix,
already.
if it were just Phoenix, then I would just accept it. But if there's gonna be more, oh no.
Here's the. This might sound a little silly,
Yeah.
but usually there's like a couple of like design tropes they rely on when they start getting to the like final combinations. And
Mm.
one of those is like the staff of leftover parts, where they just
Well,
like compile
well,
whatever's left into a form.
yeah. Hold on. Well,
But
it's
and
slowly
and they're
slowly being a
and
thing.
they're already
And they're already
yeah they're already doing that, and we're only and that's only in a group of 6. So
yeah.
I
They're,
don't know how it's gonna look.
well, well, this YouTuber here already got the memo. Look at this. Look at this spear of unused parts. If you can even call this spear.
It's just
You're seeing this?
yeah,
It's a big boy.
you know
Hmm?
I will usually defend stuff like this, but there's a point where I just can't come up with excuses.
You can't defend this?
I mean, this is like this is like a fan combination, right? This is
Well, it's like, yeah, this guy's best estimate based on like whatever that Phoenix thing had. Especially with that shield. That was obviously a face. But yeah,
so this I can forgive since it's not official and he was just working with what he was given. But
yeah,
I feel like the official one isn't going to be too far off from this.
yeah, I can't agree with that. Because this is, unless there's gonna be like some other mecha involved in this, it's gonna be pretty close.
Also, my concern here
Yeah.
is that generally up until Don Brothers mecha weren't that articulated, and so they could have a lot of weight on them without worrying about stability and stuff like that. These
They,
are very articulated.
yeah. Especially, I
So
feel like,
I just see the knees collapsing and sending this flying to the ground.
well, the thing is like, this guy had to like position it where only Taijin's body was like leaning forward a bit, with the legs going backward in order to like keep it balanced. I think so. The spear is pretty much being used like a walking cane. Oh dear. But yeah, this is gonna be
Yeah.
a pretty fun thing. There's already 2 birds here. Pretty cool.
Well, here's the story. It looks like it's barely this already looks like it's barely stable. and there's more mecha coming. But also there's a P Bandai version of just Robotaro, which is more articulated and gives Onitajin
The
the
sitting.
ability to sit down, and
Yeah,
it has like 6 different leg joints. I just don't see that happen.
this is gonna be the first Sentai mecha where it just collapses on the weight of all the other mecha.
I
Boy.
mean, they're doing something. They're doing something that's never been done before in the series. So there's unavoidably going to be some awkward stuff that happens while they're sorting this out.
Yeah,
But I feel like they've just taken on way too much at one time, considering what they're trying to do here.
yeah. Meanwhile, Saru brother is just like hanging out there on the left arm there. He's
It
just
really seems like they just forgot he existed until they're done, and then they're like, oh crap, we have 10 minutes, glue it on there.
yeah, yeah. It kind of feels like that. I feel like they realized that they couldn't really make something without destroying the articulated arms of Saru brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
mean the
mm,
legs are really the more important part in this case. So
yeah,
it was either the arms or the legs.
yeah, that's true. They'll have to like add something to those legs in order to make Oni Taijin not collapse on itself. Maybe like a one of those like back support things, like with Gosei Great King or whatever what it's called. Mm.
Oh yeah, hyper
What?
hyper.
Yeah, that one. I was thinking of like Go Busters King Great
For your head.
or whatever that lion thing was.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was like the thing is that was very heavily ratcheted. So even if you put like a whole bunch of weight on it, it wasn't going anywhere.
Mm.
This isn't.
This is not ratcheted or
At
not
least
enough
not
ratchet.
enough for
Right.
yeah. It's um and the thing and the thing about Ghost of the Great is it required like an entire separate dedicated mecha just to be like
Stable.
basically just to hold it up.
Uh,
But this doesn't even have that. It'd be like just it's held together by like 6 clips and hope, pretty much.
oh dear. Well, hopefully the new mecha will give Oni Titan here back support. Anyway, before we forget, there's Ultraman Decker news finally. Something interesting
There is.
happened. Yeah, well, yeah, it's more so in regards to an actor than the actual show. Basically, whatever's happening in the
Okay.
show is like the scientist was evil. You made like a mecha called Terra Phaser in order for his own means. But the more important part is there's going to be a future Ultraman Decker, who is going to be
Oh
played by
really?
it's going to be played by Masashi Taniguchi, and he's played by and he played Kamen Rider Amazon Alpha, Kamen Rider Falchion.
Oh.
Who else? Go Go 5's Blue Ranger, way back when, and now he's going to become future Ultraman Decker. So that means we got a guy who did the trifecta. Hooray!
Right.
Hmm?
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Other than that, plot wise, Ultraman Decker is alright. Basically,
Yeah.
their scientist was evil the whole time. His name is Agams or whatever, and was pretty much putting up front in order to like build this mecha called Terra Phaser, which is basically edgier King Joe. As you can see here, basically he used the human organization to make this for his own means, and now since everything has put into motion, Agams has revealed his true identity and intentions. Also,
Okay,
hmm?
that actually looks kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is cool. I still see it as an edgier King Joe. Also, a brand new toy. Behold, the Phase Riser. It is not a belt. It is a gun.
Uh,
Hmm?
That looks a bit like Mega Silver's thing, whatever his thing was called, the gun he had. It
Yeah.
looks a bit like that. But
This okay, yeah. This thing basically functioned like Ultraman Victory's gun item, where basically you can like twist the top part of it to become a rod or a gun mode, and it reads cards
okay,
in order to like give Terra Phaser special attacks. I don't know if you can see it, but basically this guy is holding up this gun, and as you can see, it's rotated going upwards.
yeah,
Yeah, that's basically how it works. Basically, Ultraman Victory's gun lance thing. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened in
ah,
terms of Decker. Future Ultraman Decker's coming in. Terra Phaser's being a son of a bitch. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. And future
I think we
episodes.
asked.
Hmm?
I think we asked you about your opinion on Decker before, and you told us just it's a show.
Well, yeah. Personally, how I feel, I'm pretty sure I already said this at some point, but I feel like Decker is alright. I just don't care about it that much compared to that. Basically,
uh,
how to put it is that there's a good Ultraman has been going on for a while now, so obviously there's gonna be some seasons where it's just like okay, but where it's like okay in the grand scheme of things compared to like if it's viewed in a vacuum. I'm pretty sure Decker is good within a
yeah,
vacuum, but it's like to me in terms of like Ultraman, my favorite all time is like Ultraman Z, and
yeah,
he can like argue that he's also okay in terms of like a season, but it's like I just prefer to choose him over Ultraman Trigger and Decker. And to be fair, Decker is a sequel to Trigger, so it's like okay, there's more of this now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Other than that, seems like a solid season. I've seen some of it. Looks fine. Been keeping up with it a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ultraman has been going pretty has been going since 1966, right?
yeah. It's been going on for 55 years. Well, 57.
Okay,
Yeah, 57
that's
now.
longer than even Rider has been going. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, or yeah, Ultraman has been going since the 60s or so. 50. Well, now it will be 57-ish years since Trigger and Decker came out, and the 55th anniversary happened during Ultraman Z's time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been going on for a while, and this is the latest installment, and I think it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Ultraman Z is pretty cool. You should watch it.
Is Ultraman on the Toku Drive?
Yeah, it is. It's in the Toku drives,
Okay.
and most modern seasons go for at least 25 episodes. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but that seems to be like whatever happened. I don't know what happened to decide
Well,
this,
like you,
but it did.
well, like, well, yeah, well, like you said, it's gonna be going on for almost 60 years. They probably just want to avoid having a lot of filler and more time in between to write a story.
Yeah, true. Unlike
They're
Conrad,
probably yeah, they're probably trying to just avoid their own death pretty much.
well, yeah, true. Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, it goes on for 25 episodes, each 20ish minutes or longer, not including ads. For some reason, in the YouTube, like you can see Ultraman episodes on YouTube through the official channel, but it's like they include the ads, so they just like adds more. You know, it just adds more time. Like those ads alone, just like makes it a total to like 30 minutes rather than like at least 20 to 25 minutes of a standard episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like there's probably a more slimmed down version of the episode that Toku Drive somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
One thing that sucks even though I don't know all that much about Ultraman, I think it kind of sucks that there's only been a crossover with something else once, and it was in 1972.
Yeah, the Kamen
So
Rider
it's been a
thing.
while.
The
Yeah,
Kamen Rider thing, right?
yeah. So it's been a while to say the least.
Well, it's like Ultraman's owned by Tsuburaya, not Toei, so that kind of
Yeah, but
crossover doesn't happen often.
it's like Toei like buys stuff all the time. They're like the Disney of Japan. I just don't see why they wouldn't have gotten it by now. I mean, I guess the people at Surabasa can say no, but it's like
Well,
most companies just like
well,
instantly.
here's what I believe. Ultraman is so good that Tsuburaya is able to float on it without being bought out. That's what I think
Like,
happened.
like I said, they can always say no, no matter what Toei says. But it's like it's kind of weird that they're the only ones I've seen refuse Toei. Not that
No,
I'm not by saying that I'm not trying to defend Toei. I'm just saying
it's just like a little bit
they're the
weird.
only ones. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I can see how it's weird. Personally, I just see that Ultraman has been so successful that Tsuburaya doesn't need to accept Toei's offers because they have the better option here. Plus, they're just, like popular enough that they're able to consider branching out to the West in terms of like showing off Ultraman stuff. So they're
yeah.
that
I think
powerful
that's
alone.
most.
It's like
I think that like I think their presence in America so far basically just consists of the Marvel comic, right? At
hmm,
least at the moment.
how do I put it? Technically, yes, but their YouTube channel has English subs,
Okay.
so it's like they're more putting more effort into localizing Ultraman than Toei right now.
Hmm.
Like they even have like some kind of plan thing in their website. I don't remember what it was, but basically it's like some
I'm
kind of
kind of
localization plan over the years.
yeah, I'm kind of in between on about how I feel on how I feel about Toei
Yeah,
because if you look at them as a company, they're pretty terrible.
yeah, it's shady shit.
But there's no sugarcoating that they're just terrible.
Yeah, they're
But
shady shit.
but also I feel like if the Sentai Rider or anything else moves to another company, that's like instant death.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. I feel like Toei is both simultaneously old at old has a brain that's both old and young at the same time. Because like Japan is like an
Yeah,
aged society, right? So it's like
yeah, they're
obviously,
set.
so obviously the old people
Yeah,
are
they're
like determining whatever going on in Toei. Ooh,
yeah. It's like they're set in their ways, but not enough that they can't be swayed by.
money.
Basically, if they think it will make money, they'll do it
Yeah.
regardless of what they believe. But
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like that's the whole initiative at the end of the day. They need to make money out of these shows they own.
here's the thing: they don't seem to care about that principle when it comes to localizing shows anywhere but Japan.
Mm. Yeah, that's the
Because
weird
like,
thing. Because
if you
based on what
moved it,
you go
if you
ahead.
moved it over to yeah, if you moved it over to the West, there's gonna be like a little adjustment period because the pre-existing fans will latch onto it, obviously, because they're going to.
Mm.
But it's going to take a while for the general public to catch on, and maybe it's not going to become as big as like Marvel or anything else like that. That's just not going to happen, at least not for a long time.
But it will be
Um,
a notable presence.
yeah,
Mm.
but I think the thing that's keeping them from doing that is the fact that Sentai has already been adapted over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually what I when means to say. Based on like what I've heard, they seem to like base their localization success based on how Power Rangers went. So it's like
But the thing is, like,
so I assume
yeah,
so I assume it's like okay, Power Ranger went well, Super Sentai can maybe sell here, but it's like when they brought out Max Rider, that just killed it for them. I think.
yeah. But here's the thing: they don't. The only thing Hasbro has their hands on right now
Hmm.
is that one license. anything else that they use in that show in those seasons, they have to buy independently, and
Mm.
basically they're renting it. They're not, buying the license.
Yeah, yeah.
It, it's it's like you don't have to do this beneath the shadow of that show. You can just do whatever you want with it. It doesn't have to follow the suit of whatever they're doing.
Mm, right.
And I think that's what ultimately kills it every time they try to bring it over here.
The renting.
Well, I mean, them trying to like make it, PR too.
Yeah, I don't know. That feels like that's what's the philosophy between behind Masked Rider. Apply the PR logic into this different show, even though it kind of didn't work. Definitely didn't
It's
work.
like okay, they tried Black RX and then Yuki,
Well, that was a different people. And
right? But like that, regardless of how you feel about Dragon Knight's existence, it was different. They weren't just like trying to, copy.
yeah, yeah. To be fair, they were
It,
trying to do something original,
yeah,
more or less.
and to the point that they wanted Jason David Frank out of it when he tried to audition. Like
Yeah,
they wanted this to be as independent as possible.
yeah. I told you about it. They just didn't want to be associated with Power Rangers' cloud of influence.
Yeah,
I can, I,
but
I can kind of see what it was
they,
going with that.
yeah, the philosophy was there, but the execution wasn't as great as it could have been.
Yeah, true. Especially when
But regardless, yeah,
what channel was that show? Was that show on anyway? Because that could have been a factor to all this.
I want to say it was JetX, but I don't remember because JetX
It,
died pretty soon.
it's not JetX. I don't think it was JetX. Let's see here. Bu- bu- bu. Kamen Rider Dragonite. Let's see if there's something in the wiki. Have you seen Dragonite?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, let's see. It apparently began airing in something called the CW television network.
That explains why it died.
Yeah, that was like what I was thinking. Cause like if it was like a channel that no one cared about, then that was like a death sentence immediately. Cause like at least
I don't. I,
cause like
I
come on,
don't know if I don't know if I don't know if CW is in Canada or
it,
if you're aware of it, but basically it is synonymous with the show dying over here.
I don't think the CW is in Canada. As far as I know, no one gives a shit about it.
Okay, I'll fill you in a little bit then. In America, when a show goes on CW, it dies like almost instantly.
Oh, the CW, the Powerpuff Girls thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
it goes on CW. Either it dies instantly or it drags on for way too long, despite the fact that nobody likes it.
right. Okay, yeah, I do know about the CW. I just I thought it was something different. Anyway, yeah, the CW is a graveyard. But
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, that's
I
sad.
feel like if they had tried like Fox Kids or
I can see it being
maybe
something on Fox or AB. No, Fox definitely because Fox Kids had like a lot of weird shit. Like, do you remember like Sonic X?
yeah,
Yeah, if Sonic
MM,
X gets
MMPR MMPR was pretty much the only thing that survived that channel.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Oh dear. Well, to be fair, Power Rangers had its own thing going on for a while, so it's like it just happened to be dropped off at Fox Kids for a bit before moving on. So I feel like it would survive regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the thing is the reason it blew up as large as it did is because the concept of tokusatsu was completely unheard of in the West, like
Uh,
almost entirely until then.
okay, here's a question for you. Did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie come out before or after MMPR?
What do you mean, the first movie?
Like the first movie was the special. Hold on,
I'm pretty sure it was well before.
you had like the '80s movie. Hold on, the
Yeah,
1990.
well, the thing is, MMPR was 1993. So,
Okay, so
yeah, okay, yeah, it
so
did come out before then.
right. So technically, this is Tokusatsu.
I mean, it's not real. It's not like the way you and I think of it.
Well, okay, yeah, but like
And here's the thing.
in the
Okay, well, here's
definition,
the thing.
yes.
Regardless, regardless of what this movie is, TMNT existed before this movie. It was already a known, established concept in the West.
True. It was an animated TV show, much
I
like
mean, yeah, but it's like a
yes,
lot of things got live action adaptations in the '80s that, for better or for worse. But the thing is, let me put it this way: it wasn't as aggressively Japanese as VR was.
oh, oh, okay, I see. So in these terms, Power Rangers was aggressively Japanese or something.
I mean, yeah, it's like there's a lot of tropes and concepts that weren't understood here at the time, and that's partially why it got as popular as it did, just because it was,
So
a new novelty thing.
a new
If they
cool
tried that again,
again.
yeah, if they tried that again with Ryder or Ultraman, it wouldn't have quite the same impact as it did back then.
True, especially
So
with
it's not
Ultraman.
going to have, yeah, it's not going to have the same instantaneous,
Boom.
staying power.
Yeah, I get, especially with Ultraman, because like apparently Japanese people. This is what I've heard. But apparently, Japanese people find the concept of becoming a giant more fascinating than whatever's going on here in the states. Like the states see Ant Man going giant is like, oh, that's pretty boring. But it's like with Ultraman in the Japan, it's like the Japanese who apparently go like, that's some dope shit. I want more. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard. Apparently, culture be different.
Well, the funny thing is, they actually banned an episode. Well, not banned. I shouldn't say that, but they cut an episode of Zio where that happens
Wait, what?
because it was just that. Yeah, they cut an episode of Zio from airing for a while because of that.
Really? What did it do? What did Zio
Well,
do?
there's this.
What?
Well, the thing is, there's. I don't remember what episode it was. Doesn't really matter. But there's like, okay, the mecha were down or unavailable for some reason. That's the main thing, and they're like trying to figure out what to do. And I don't know how or why this happened, but Gold just like pulls this out of his ass pretty much. He's like, okay, everybody focus on each other, and then he like puts his staff into the middle, and then all of a sudden everybody's like 50 feet tall. And it was like the weirdest thing.
That is.
And they aired that like once or twice and then stopped. It didn't see the light of day again until Zio was on DVD.
That's weird. I don't. That actually happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, I need to like see this. I'm gonna try to look it up.
Hold on, I'll find it for you.
Daimazine. Okay, go ahead. Because this sounds so absurd, just in the normal sense of it.
Well, the weird thing is like that had never been done before, and it was never done since in that season. Like Trade just like, oh yeah, you can do this by the way. And I don't know how everybody wasn't like extremely mad at him because that would have come in handy like several times before this.
They forgot Jay existed. I don't know.
He was just like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this by
Oh, okay, so this is. Oh, Zio!
yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Kamen Rider Zio.
Oh no. Okay, yeah, I see the confusion.
Because, like,
In fairness, there are Theos.
For a moment, I thought like wow, just became a giant. Like, wow, I'm a giant now. Oh
Yeah,
dear.
yeah.
Okay,
I hate the picture the images I just put in your head by accident.
it's cool. It's pretty funny, but it seems as absurd at the same time. Just like a giant was, just like being the best thing in this show.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah, he was already carrying the entire show. He might as well have the size to pull it off.
oh god, that's hilarious.
I
Uh,
mean, yeah, I don't know why this, but they just pulled it. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I guess they decided it wasn't good enough and then stopped.
uh,
The only way it exists now is through the DVDs.
right, okay. I can't still stop thinking about the Kamen Rider Zeo thing. It's just like Decade had like a section of episodes where it just focused on the show writers, notably Amazon. So it's like, what if Zeo decided to make a couple episodes focusing on that weird blip between Kamen Rider Black and Kuga, and then the antics
Oh
involving
God,
the, and then they just
they
involve,
just show like a bunch. They just show like a bunch of unused suits and rejected concepts that exist in like this forgotten space.
yeah, and one of them involves antics involving the J Rider Watch, and then Zeo or
Yeah,
Wasp just becomes a giant man. And it's like, oh god,
yeah,
okay,
that
but
weird little space.
a weird,
Everything that writer shouldn't everything that writer shouldn't have done exists in that space where it's like here's Dragon Knight, here's that decade adaptation that never came to be. Beetleborgs are also here for some reason.
hey Wasp, what is this weird DVD saying Dragon Knight? And Wasp just like slaps it away. It's like, don't worry about that, my king. You don't need to know that about that. Oh jeez, that is
Like he
hilarious.
just like he just like aggressively rips that page out of the book.
Yeah, he just like takes out Dragonite Masked Rider and just like puts those pages into a fire, and it's like, you don't need to know about that, my king. You don't need those powers.
Finally,
What?
yeah, he just uses Ginga finally and just burns it to death.
Ginga Taio.
Yeah, Ginga Taio, that's right.
Yeah. Pretty. Honestly, at this point, I feel like I should just like watch Zio for the shits and giggles of it.
I mean, at this point, you're not going to lose anything by doing that.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Cause like
So he now seems to understand. He now seems to understand that not that many people liked it, so I don't think they're gonna like try to revive it or anything anytime soon.
uh, the only thing they got going for it is those like ride watches, right?
Pretty much, they're trying to do like the same, key thing with that. It's
Right.
not going to work out for them. I know that for a fact, but they're still trying to.
The Ranger keys.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're trying to be like the rider. It's trying to be like the rider equivalent of that. But the thing is, those don't have any moving part. Those don't have any electronics.
Well, yeah,
The rider watch do, and they have to be like really expensive. And
yeah.
on top of that, it's going to be they all had to be P Bandai. So I just don't see it panning out.
I can see. I can at least see the Kamen Rider stuff and the Legend stuff with Geats becoming like a more congruent thing compared to like whatever the ride watches are trying to be right now. Because like those don't really
Yeah.
require batteries, and
Well,
I, what?
the thing is with Decade, they can just keep adding on to that virtually forever because they're just cardboard.
Yeah,
They don't have to be.
it's just like cardboard with barcodes.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of thing is like beneficial. Meanwhile, Geats they have their own. At most, they have like the 20 Heisei riders, but they also have some like some Showa riders like Ichigo, Beast Ray, Kamen Rider Black. So technically, they could do a whole list of like Legend Rider stuff, but they chose not to.
Yeah, and with Geats, I mean Geats Revice.
Yes.
With that, I don't see them trying that again because the ride watches are flopped pretty hard. If they
Yeah,
do, I don't see it. I don't see it. They're probably gonna do one for Geats, and then that's probably gonna be it.
yeah, probably just like a few, like a Happy Battle DVD, just like ah, everyone, here's a special mention for all of you. It's themed about landed riders. You earn points by doing these things and blah blah blah, and just like a whole toy commercial and one special.
Yeah, but it's and I don't see them doing anything like that with Zio or Revice unless they do some like anniversary special 10 years down the line.
True, yeah. Oh yeah, that reminds me. They did do that with Xade. Like
Yeah,
that
kind of.
whole Gen special, whatever. It was in reality a toy commercial and one special.
Well, yeah, but even then it was like only three new things.
Three. No, it was Ghost, Drive, Gaim, Wizard, and then that
Oh, oh
Gambarai
wait,
Gashat.
you're not talking about the recent special. I thought you were talking about the 01 crossover thing.
No, I'm talking about that Gen special, not the President special. It's like
Right.
it's like it's like
Yeah.
the one thing of Camaraderie Arcade where it's like
Right. They
I
did
was
all preceding 15 Heisei Riders plus Ichigo. I know what you're talking about now.
not that one. Uh, no, it was like Taiko no Tatsujin was also there. Pac-Man was there. Xevious, Famisa, that one.
The Gashats were like so popular that they could just make anything they wanted and still make their profit back from it.
Yeah, I
Like they
feel
really didn't have to.
yeah. I'm low key hoping that they do that for Geats. Just as like a funny little callback to Activate.
Yeah.
Plus, they get chill out as much buckles as they want that way. So hey, works for them.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I think I think the Gashats were the only time they're willing to do more than a second shipment because even with the Hyper Battle one for that season, they're doing like third and fourth releases of it because it
Really?
was that popular, which never happens with Hyper Battles.
The Gashas were really that popular?
Yeah, they're doing like second and third and fourth releases, even for stuff as obscure as the Hyper Battles.
Damn.
And there was a time where you just couldn't find them at any store, secondary or otherwise. And even now, they're like $40 for one, just because of how they're still popular in the secondary
Uh,
market.
God damn.
Yeah,
I guess I don't
yeah,
really see that out too much because
yeah,
I have the 01 stuff, which is basically this 2019 version of the Exit stuff.
yeah. I think that's the reason that Ride Watches tried to be what they're trying to be because they're trying to replicate the same tropes that made the Gash hats popular. But the thing is, X8 was also a good season, unlike Z. So
And also had video games instead of like Common Riders as a theme. So
yeah,
who gives a shit about a watch compared to like a video game? You know?
well, depends on the watches.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh well. Hopefully the
The only,
hmm?
as far as I understand, the majority of the collectors that weren't trying to complete the entire line, they only really bought the ride watches of their favorite seasons and then stopped. That's pretty much it.
That's kind of how I want to do with the revised stamps. Kinda.
Yeah,
I've just been thinking about it for a little bit because like I was thinking of at least getting like the Vitham selection 03, whatever, the one with Kuwagata and Kamen Black stamp on a Callus. And then just capping it
oh
off
yeah.
with just like getting the Zeo and Decade and the Barrett Rex stamp and just like be done.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing though.
Yes.
You said the same thing about the Sentai gears, and then you bought like almost all of them.
I am not above jinxing myself.
Yeah, because I remember we had this conversation when you're asking for my opinion on which ones to get. and you're like, well, I'm not gonna. I said you're gonna end up with all of them anyways, and you're just like defiantly said, no, I'm not, and then cut to 6 months later.
I guess so. I don't know. I got like a good chunk of it, except for the Senpaiser gears. Like say, basically, uh, Gokaiger to now. I don't have those gears. I do have everything else before them.
Well, the thing is with Gokaiger, it was so exceedingly popular that anything associated with it is going to go out of stock like almost instantly.
Yeah, true. Uh, like what's that? That does remind me that two Geyser stuff went out of like sold out really fast, huh? Back way back
you,
when.
you still haven't you
Hmm?
still haven't found the buckle, have you?
No, because they don't sell it separately.
Oh, it's only in that Narakiri set
Yep,
for real.
yep.
Oh, wow. Okay, that I didn't know.
You didn't know that? Okay, here's the situation.
No, well, because normally when they do Narakiri sets, it's like stuff you can get separately.
No,
It's just like slightly cheaper to buy it in the bundle.
in this case, no. In this, you have
Yeah,
to like find a DX Ricky that's gone. And you have to like be
I guess.
you have to like hope that someone is gonna resell that Narakiri set of the two Kaiser stuff, or you have to like
I guess.
settle with like SG Katanar gear, and you gotta spray paint a Zenkai buckle that you found one day.
I guess it's just because it's a repaint with the buckle, so they didn't feel like doing a separate voice for it. They probably thought they would make more money off of it that way.
Well, the real thing I find is that I see this as like a really old issue, but basically that part of the Narakiri set was that the gear to linger, the Ricky gear, but the things exclusive to that set was the DX Rick Katanar gear and the buckle. And the gear in the Katanar gear is probably more special than the buckle in the long term.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously there's SG stuff, but, like, if you wanted to get, like, that DX Katanar gear, you have to, like, chill out to get that set.
Well, the thing is, you're not gonna. There's not like that much difference between the SGs and DX with the gears, right?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I know. Yeah,
I think the only thing, if I remember correctly, is that the pattern kind of gets cut off because of the wiggle information on the back.
yeah, yeah. I think I showed you this a while ago. But basically, the difference is
Yeah.
like so minute that it doesn't really matter unless
Well,
you're like, unless
with
you're
the
like,
Avatar gears, it doesn't really matter at all
yeah,
because no one's look at the back.
yeah, exactly. Who would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
fact, I think even the legal information is the same. It just says like Type A or Type B, and that's the only difference.
Yeah. It's basically the differences are so minute that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you can probably get most of them without getting doubles.
Yep. Yep. In my case, due to the poor distribution of the normal Sentai gears, I have to like fill in some of the collection with Avataro gears. Uh, Case in point, Geki Ranger. That the poor the normal Sentai gear version of the Geki Ranger gear does not exist anymore. So I had to like get like the Avataro gear version, which looks pretty nice.
I don't even get what happened there because Geki Ranger was like wasn't popular at all.
Well, it's like I think we talked about this, but it's like I think you said something about like poor distribution, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, because like I can see that because I don't know. Given
I
how
mean,
this, hmm,
Bandai is almost like worse than Hasbro is right now with their distribution,
at least okay,
and
which
that
one's more
and that's
consistent?
really,
Which
huh?
one? Which one is more consistent in terms of like releasing?
Normally, I would if you asked me like 2 or 3 years ago, I would have said Bandai, but with the way they're doing P Bandai and stuff like that, I have to go with Hasbro. They're it. they do their bullshit, but at least it's like general retail bullshit.
Oh dear. I guess the Revice having like 10 plus P Bandai belts changed your opinion about this.
I used to be like I was already kind of like a little bit weirded out by Bandai, both America and Japan,
Hmm.
but they were never doing anything like super weird or nefarious until recently. And then they're
Right.
like, "Oh, here's the repaint of that belt." They did that with like a little bit of 01, and you're like,
Here's
"Well, it's a movie item, so whatever. That was
here's
gonna
this
happen anyway."
here's this
And
repaint.
then with
Here's this repaint of this movie belt. Uh, $80. P Bandai.
yeah, and then it's like, here's the GN driver is going to be P Bandai only, and you're like, why? And then they do that mold twice in P Bandai, and it's like the least functional belt in the entire show.
Damn, that's sad.
And it's just like, what are you guys doing over there? It's like you don't want to make money.
Well, I don't know what their philosophy is with the toys anymore. All I know
What is
is that they're gonna be distributing the Tycoon Rider ID core into like some special sweepstakes thing or whatever.
don't even get me started. That's
Well, it's like so ridiculous.
that,
It's just like a literal piece of plastic. Why?
it's
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but like the ID cores don't, they're all the exact same thing. There's no like pins or rails
No.
are on them, right?
Yeah. No. There's nothing special about them. It's like they just
So
serve
it's
to like.
literally just the color.
Yeah. It's only the color. These things ultimately just serve to like push a button inside the driver in order to like make it go. So it's like you turn
And
on
you can do that with your finger, right?
what? Yeah, I can do it with my finger.
You can just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good God.
Yeah. So it's like they're distributing this Tycoon Rider ID core for no reason. It's just like a literal hunk of plastic, which I
I,
can.
I blame
I
I
believe.
blame Xaid for starting.
What do you mean X? What did XA do?
Okay, well, okay. Again, went through like what, six gash hats of its own, right?
Right. And
Like all of his gash hats were, there's like six of them, right?
six of which Gashats again?
Uh, eh, the ones that belonged exclusively to Gem.
Exclusively the game. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So it's like Mighty Action
that's
Proto
like
Purple, Mighty Action Proto Gray, Dangerous Zombie.
yeah. Of those seven, you know how many were general retail? One.
One? Oh,
One. It was just Dangerous Zombie.
not. Oh God. Oh
And
dear.
his two main ones, gray and purple, were campaign items.
Oh no. So what about God Maximum?
That you had to buy. It wasn't like just a movie item. You had to buy either a Blu-ray or a DVD combo pack. In either
Oh
way, you're looking at $100,
damn. I wonder what they're gonna do for Gen Muso.
and that was $100 in 2016 money. So
Oh Jesus. Would that just be 150
actually,
now? What?
surprisingly, again, Muso is only like $30 because in a bundle with the art key, which is like a total of $60. So it's actually surprisingly cheap. But
Wow.
I imagine those prices are going to skyrocket once it goes out of stock.
Yeah, I probably will. I for a moment I was gonna say, oh, they finally got off their high for this X-Ray, but it's like, nope.
Yeah, nope.
Uh,
Hold on a second. I'm gonna do some quick calculations here.
okay, go ahead.
GPY.
I like
Feel free to cut this part. But
I won't. I don't have the editing stuff, so Jack is gonna do it. But I like how the rest of this episode just went about to a rant about tokusatsu toys. It's
that's what we do
great.
here.
Yeah, it's great. I hope you people watching this or listening to this are enjoying this madness here. But anyway,
Okay, so 12,000. Calculate that. So yeah, you're right. It's about 150.
wow,
That would be that would be 150 now.
wow. That was just like an estimate, given how prices just be stupid.
Yeah, if you bought like the combo pack thing, it would have been somewhere like 2 or 250.
Hmm. You hear like
So
this?
yeah, Bandai's been going down the path of insanity for quite a while now.
Oh dear. Well, that's not good. Other than I don't have any much else to say other than like, uh, they updated the simulator. They updated the Kamen Rider simulator. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. It's double now. That's so cool.
I like how this is the only occasion it's been more Philip. It's been more Philip than Shotaro.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the bottom half is like ninja.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like one. It's like one. It's like 1/3 Shotaro.
I can't imagine they would just make like a Joker variant or
Yeah, I imagine they will.
well, so far there has been no noises for it so far. Other than that,
Well,
uh,
here's
hmm?
well, just because they're making a variant for it doesn't mean it'll have a unique sound. That doesn't always happen.
Yeah, true. Not always. Other than that, I think the ninja suit
And
looks pretty cool.
yeah, and with relative consistency, ever since Legend stuff has been coming out, they've made like a separate thing for Joker
Yeah, true.
because I think it started with. Well, I guess Bill doesn't really count since they both had dedicated full bottles, but
Yeah,
um,
there was
but the Ride Watch
Condor. There
and
was
then the Progress Key.
yeah, and then there was Condor was the vice stamp.
I'm pretty sure there's like a separate decade card, but I'm not sure.
Hmm. I do know that there was a skull one, like a
There
decade.
was a what?
Like maybe this was like a movie thing, but like there was like a Comrade Skull card for a decade.
Oh yeah, that was for the end.
Oh yeah, no, no, that happened in the movie though. Like in that
Yeah, that was for the
decade.
end though.
Oh, so so it's the concept just like stole that for a hot minute for like a cute and
I guess so.
emotional thing.
His DM's whole thing was that instead of the secondary writers, he got like the anti-hero movie writers.
That is that is honestly still weird to me.
Yeah, and now
But
it's like you can't give him a complete 21 equivalent because not every season has that.
yeah, especially with Kuga. So unless you're willing to make like the writer card for Tachi, whoever that
And
guy was,
even at the time when they just started doing that, they had to leave a space blank on his K touch because there wasn't enough.
there was not Kuga did not have one unless you're gonna make a a writer version of like that officer. I forgot
Yeah,
his name.
and then they didn't include the Deno one for some reason, which is weird because there was like three at that point.
Three. Oh yeah, and like New
Yeah,
Deno, Theranos,
and
E.
G Deno hijack stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. There's like so many writers. Oh well.
Yeah,
Okay. You want to like call it a night then?
yeah. I gotta go do something anyway. All right, so
All right. Well, this has been good Toku Hero time Hopefully, we'll see you people next time. Hopefully, schedules won't be a son of a bitch.
Night, everybody.
Good night.